So I wanted to do a special intro because Star Wars is probably one of my favorite not only trilogies but movie series of all time. So I wanted to do something special in the tradition of my fellow YouTube critics, and I couldn't come up with anything really creative. Then I don't have the effects to do the lightsaber effects. That's all I got, man. And don't act like you never made that sound effect when you first played with your lightsaber. Alright, y'all, it's Star Wars season. Time to get this party started. So, with all of the Star Wars movies that we have now, it had been almost impossible for me to review each individual one leading up to The Last Jedi. So, instead, I'm just going to break it up between the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. I'm gonna kick it off with my favorite being The Empire Strikes Back. It's a favorite among a lot of Star Wars fans' list, and it is definitely my favorite of the trilogy. That wasn't always the case. As a kid, I saw Return of the Jedi at 3 years old, and I remember going to the movies to see it. It was probably one of my first memories that I actually can like really remember, and I remember loving Return of the Jedi. And there was a time when I did love the Ewoks. As I got older and wizened up, I realized that the Ewoks were whack, the Muppets in Jabba's Palace was whack, and it actually brought the film down a little bit. The whole angle between Vader and Luke and the Emperor was gold. Okay, some of the best moments in all of Star Wars, especially the last battle between Vader and Luke. I rewound that part at least a million times over the years because it's one of my favorite scenes because it builds up and builds up. And then finally, when Luke finally snaps, when Vader made the mistake of bringing Leia into it. Now, Luke was cool. Luke wasn't going to fight his daddy. He's like, okay, you my pops. I'm not going to fight you. I'm trying to bring you back. I'm not going there with you. I'd rather hide in the shadows. I'll let you do something to me before I hurt you. But the moment Vader came out of his mouth and says, "So, you have a twin sister. Your feelings have now betrayed her too. Obi-Wan was wise to hide her from me. Now his failure is complete. If you will not turn to the dark side, then perhaps she will." Never! And Vader looked like, oh shit. So yeah, it was moments like that that made Jedi really special. And the last dogfight at the end also was the best special effects that they had at that time for each individual movie. So Return of the Jedi, though moments of greatness, I'm gonna say it was the weak link of the trilogy. New Hope, which was just titled Star Wars at the time, is another great. It was the first of its kind. It was a pioneer. Like it took the tradition of the old Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon serials from back in the day and put a modern twist to it, but it was its own individual thing. Like it did that rare thing where it was able to bite off of and pay homage to the old stuff, where making it really true and original. And when you see Star Wars, you think Star Wars. You don't think of Buck Rogers. You don't think of Flash Gordon. Special effects wise, it doesn't hold up to Empire and Return of the Jedi, but just everything it represented. The classic hero's journey. Luke from being, this aw shucks farm boy to becoming a hero that saves the whole galaxy. The princess, the badass with the Wookiee. You know what I'm saying? Like Star Wars had everything. The wise old wizard and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like Star Wars is damn near a flawless film. It is one of the best of all time, and I say it is the second best of this trilogy. So I rate them Empire, Star Wars, and then Return of the Jedi. Empire Strikes Back. My lord, flawless film. There's not one thing wrong I could say about this movie. And this is the only one out of the trilogy that the special edition actually did do it some justice because it changed some things that needed to be changed, like the snow creature showing more of him, and the scene with the Emperor when we first see Palpatine, because in the original Empire, like his little monologue didn't make sense to the other movies, so they had to change that, which was necessary. And Bespin, I think Bespin was the best addition to the Empire Strikes Back because they made Bespin look beautiful, like the Cloud City. Lando Calrissian was probably one of the most gangster. Like, dude, he's like the only brother in Star Wars at that time, and he's the coolest and most smoothest one too. Like when he hit on Leia, come on, man, that was golden. Of course, I hated Lando at the time because he set Han up to get frozen in carbonite. But of course, when you get older, you realize that he had no choice because he made a deal with Vader, and Vader went back on the deal. Calrissian, take the princess and the Wookiee to my ship. You said to be left under my supervision. I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. DC Lando grabbed his throat. It's like Vader didn't even hardly have to move. Vader was almost like Paulie in Goodfellas. Vader might have moved slow, but that's because Vader didn't have to move for anybody. He was that dude. Vader could just sit there in a chair. And you say something to piss him off, and without even, all you hear is the, and you choking and falling to the ground. That was Vader. Even when he fought Luke with the lightsaber, he was fighting with one arm at first. Like, he was so confident. He was just like sit down, son. Like, you ain't got nothing for me. And he's talking to him the whole time, just like Bane was talking to Batman before he broke his back. Vader was so gangster, it was ridiculous. Like I said, Empire was flawless. There's nothing negative I can say about this movie. The hero's journey goes into another chapter where the hero now is faced with obstacles. Hero, I'm talking about Luke Skywalker, is faced with obstacles. He's faced with adversity and how to come back from adversity and to bounce back from defeat to come back even stronger in Return of the Jedi. It's just a special charisma about that first Star Wars, okay? Then Empire coming. Empire just takes it to a whole nother level, and you're just like, wow, that was just a great experience. And then by the time you get to Jedi, it kind of veers off a little bit and kind of levels out and like plateaus almost. It doesn't take it that step further like it could have been. There were talks that Steven Spielberg was supposed to direct it, but something happened where he wasn't able to do the film. Just imagine if we would have had a Spielberg-directed Return of the Jedi. I think he would have took it to another level even further than what Irving Kershner did with Empire Strikes Back. Yo, and who can forget the John Williams score? Like, John Williams is like another character in this franchise because, man, he is my all-time favorite composer. And what he did with Star Wars just brought up to that higher of a level. Like, I mean, the movies probably would have still been good without the music, but his music just made it iconic. It just made it just head and shoulders above everything else. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something about his music that you feel it. It just touches something in you. And damn, I get goosebumps even thinking about it, man. Like, John Williams is the illest, provided some of the best musical scores of all time. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up, man. So, okay, individually, Star Wars: A New Hope, I will give an A+. The Empire Strikes Back, A+. If I can give it an A+++, it would get that. Return of the Jedi, I will give it A-. See, it's the weakling, but I still give it an A-. Despite the Ewoks, despite the Muppets, I still give it an A-. As a whole, the original Star Wars trilogy, gets an A+. George Lucas is the godfather of modern cinema. If it wasn't for this man, we would not have the effects and the CGI that we have today. This guy was a pioneer. He set it off, and now we're able to see these big spectacle movies. There would be no MCU without George Lucas. There'd be no James Cameron without George Lucas. Like, Lucas just took everything and just elevated it. So thank you for being the godfather of modern cinema, but damn you for those special edition Star Wars and them Blu-rays. Man, I can't believe, every time Star Wars season comes around, man, I'm like a little kid again because it's more than a movie. It's an event. It's a spectacle. It's something special. Like, this is part of, not only my childhood, but, anybody that grew up, in my era, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, Star Wars is just something special, man. Like, it's hard to describe, man, but it's just like when Star Wars time comes around, like, it's just a big deal. So there you have it. So next, I'm going to be reviewing the prequels. I'm going to have some fun with that one. So what did you guys think of the Star Wars trilogy? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Is it overrated? Is it the best of all time? Tell me what you think. Comment freely. Thank you for watching. This is Rashad G signing out. See you in the next video.